After graduating from UCLA with a BA in ethnomusicology with a world music emphasis, she turned her focus to piano pedagogy, currently teaching a full roster of students of various age groups in the South Bay area. Please join me in welcoming Miss Natsha Siri.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today. Frédéric Chopin is one of my most favorite composers, and it makes me so excited to share a little taste of his repertoire tonight. I also have gone through a fair amount of heartbreak in my lifetime, so tonight's recital topic is something I'm very, very passionate about. So I'm going to start off with something a little dark and toasty, composed by Chopin. Do any of you know the movie The Notebook? Yes, it's a 1996 Nicholas Sparks novel, and it's one of my favorite movies because, first of all, it's a movie that gives you hope for a love worth waiting for, and second of all, Rachel McAdams' character, Allie, she plays a particular prelude twice in this movie. It's the prelude, Opus 28, number 4, and this is one of my favorite preludes to introduce to my students. Thank you and enjoy. Frédéric Chopin. He was born in 1810 in the Duchy of Warsaw, currently known as Poland. And he was a musical genius. By age 6, he was composing tunes. He was playing at such an advanced level. By the time he hit 16 years old, he was sent to the Warsaw Conservatory of Music. And after 3 years of studying there, he surpassed the skill levels of all his teachers. After his university, he pursued his first performance debut in Vienna, and it was a success, so he continued traveling throughout Poland, Austria, Germany, and France to perform. Finally, in 1831, he settled down in Paris to continue teaching, and he stayed there until his death in 1849. So by age 39, Chopin lived a very short life. So he died at age 39 due to tuberculosis. And though he died quite young, he was able to produce over 250 compositions throughout his lifetime. Now I have a very important question for all of you. Can you hear me? That's not the important question, but, oh, it's not even on. Hello. Is it on now? I was wondering why I was still yelling. Okay, the real important question though. Who here has been heartbroken? That's it? Seriously? That's it? Only a few of you. What are all of you doing here? Are you here only because it's a free recital? Well, I've definitely been heartbroken a few times, and I feel like sometimes it's just too much for one lifetime, especially more than one heartbreak. But I relate to Chopin, because Chopin has also been heartbroken a few times, which is super ironic. His love life was so tragic, yet he was the face of the Romantic era of music. And what I mean by that is the Romantic era of music is music composed between the 1830s to early 1900s in Europe, mostly. And it consists of large, dynamic, and pitch contrasts, song-like melodies with chromatic harmonies, passion, freedom of form and design. All of that was in the music of Chopin. Now I want to talk to you about Chopin's first heartbreak before I begin this next piece. Her name was Maria Wądzińska, and she was a beautiful young Polish girl. She was a talented painter, and she was one of Chopin's students. At age 25, Chopin proposed to her. She was 16, okay? That was completely normal during that time. And she said yes. However, her parents were not really all for it. They had a few issues with Chopin. First of all, he lived a very, very busy life. He taught during the day, and in the evening he would perform and socialize, so he was never going to be home. Number two, his health was fragile. He got sick quite often. He couldn't recover from things like the flu easily. And her parents just thought, man, he's gonna die young. They weren't wrong. He died at age 39, they weren't wrong. And number three, oh yeah, he was not of high status at all. They wanted someone of royal blood and high status, but Chopin was definitely not up there, and even though he was a very well-known composer, it still wasn't enough. So a year later, Maria broke off the engagement, and that left Chopin in so much heartbreak and so much sorrow that he was inspired to compose a new set of pieces, and one of them was the Waltz in A-flat major, Opus 69, number 1. The French title of this waltz is El Adieu, and it means the farewell. And he wrote this specifically for Maria Wądzińska. Please enjoy.
I want to talk about another important heartbreak in Chopin's life. He had a few more after Maria, but you know, this one's pretty important. It happened later on in his life. He met a writer by the name of George Sand. That was her pen name. I forgot her real name. It was a really long name, but that was her name, George Sand. And she was a dangerous woman, so dangerous. I want to say her profile, definitely a high society rebel. She successfully divorced her husband, loved to wear masculine clothing, loved to smoke, loved to sleep around, and bonus, she had 2 kids. If those weren't enough red flags for Chopin, that's completely okay, because he was able to produce the most famous set of preludes during his time with her. Their scandalous affair lasted about 2 years, which is not surprising because they had opposite personalities and they fought quite often. But during their time together, they did go on a little vacation getaway to Majorca, a Spanish island. And it was a terrible trip. They had a god-awful time there because, first of all, the weather was all rain and thunderstorms. The locals were unkind to them because unmarried lovers at the time were completely unacceptable. And number 3, Chopin was sick the entire trip. He was sick and hallucinating, and therefore he produced the Preludes, Opus 28. I did perform one of them earlier, number 4. That was the first piece I performed. And now I'm going to perform for you number 15, also known as the Raindrop Prelude, because he was inspired by the sound of the raindrops and the storm. Please enjoy. You can listen to that prelude on a rainy day if you like, and hallucinate too. So, nocturnes are music of the night. Frédéric Chopin was heavily influenced by another composer by the name of John Field. He was an Irish composer who composed the first set of nocturnes in the early 1800s. However, when Chopin composed his set of nocturnes, he made them everlasting. The next nocturne, or the next piece I'm going to perform, is a nocturne that was actually released as a soundtrack in the movie The Pianist, the 2002 movie. I highly recommend that movie. It's such a beautiful movie. If you haven't watched it already, it has a lot of pieces composed by Chopin. And this particular piece also really tugs at my heart. Half a year ago, I saw someone else for the first time as my life partner. But the feelings were unrequited. And to know that, you can't make the relationship work, to know that, the person you spent so much time with is suddenly gone, that really hurts. I couldn't eat, and I couldn't sleep. Every morning and night, I wanted to play this particular nocturne, the nocturne in C sharp minor. If you've been heartbroken before, you'll definitely feel it. All the heartbreak and its sorrow. Please enjoy. You know, I talk an awful lot about romantic heartbreak, but we also have other types of heartbreak too. We have heartbreak when someone we know or someone we love passes away. And I know that's something that's really sad to talk about, but it's life, and death is unavoidable. So I just simply present to you the third movement of Chopin's Sonata No. 2 in B-flat minor, also known as the Funeral March. That funeral march was composed during the time that Poland had its November uprising in 1830. During that time, there was an armed rebellion in the heartland of Poland against the Russian Empire. And Chopin, by that time, he moved to Paris to pursue his music career. And there were, many moments where he was homesick, and he often wrote pieces that related to the pride and sorrow for Poland. And we call this a nationalistic type of heartbreak, where you have a passion for your country and where you came from. He so wanted to go back to his homeland, but it was dangerous. His family and friends were stuck there, and he was still in the middle of pursuing his big music career in Paris, so he chose to stay in Paris, and he never returned to Poland. The final piece I'm going to perform for you tonight is the Polonaise in A major, Opus 40, number 1. It is also known as the military Polonaise, and it's very bright, it's happy, it's march-like, and it really showcases the pride that Chopin had for his country. I really hope you enjoy. Thank you. to see, first of all, such a nice, large crowd. I consider this large because I'm a very, very shy performer. And to me, I would just host living room recitals and invite my friends over, and we can only fit like 7 people in the living room, so that was a very comfortable size to perform for, but this has definitely surpassed that size. And yeah, I feel like I relate to Chopin a lot, not only because of the tragic love life and heartbreak, but because he himself also loved to perform just for intimate crowds. So I really am thankful for all of you tonight for being here. This is actually my very first SoCal debut as a classical pianist. Yay, thank you. I've never performed a set like this before. Honestly, my arms are burning right now. If you want a good workout, go take some piano lessons. Play some scales every day. Play a polonaise, maybe. Thank you, Cerritos Library, for having me. Especially, thank you, Maria Tuwadi. She's one of my closest friends, and she lived with me at UCLA for 4 years during undergrad, and she works here. She's the one that gave me this grand opportunity, and it started about 2-3 months ago. I was ranting to her in the car. I was like, oh, Maria, I don't know how I'm ever gonna get over my ex. Like, all I play is sad Chopin music, what do I do? And she just interrupted me, and she was like, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna play a piano recital right before Valentine's Day, and we're gonna call it Chopin and Heartbreak. Woo! So that's why we're here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. I also really, this is maybe unnecessary, but I want to thank my previous ex and ex-boyfriends for helping me produce the emotions needed to perform this particular recital. Honestly, without them, I wouldn't be here right now either, so thank you, ex-boyfriend. I have no regrets. Thank you, Frederick Chopin. You are forever my muse. I will always love playing your beautiful music. I will admit, though, Chopin does get tiring. And at least what I've learned during this hardcore Chopin marathon is that every day when I practiced his music, I just became emotionally exhausted. Just like how I became tired of being sad and depressed over a relationship or over a situation I just cannot change. You know, I really believe that someone can heal from heartbreak, and, you know, even though I still feel like I was left with a scar, you can still move forward and live your life, and I feel like that's what I'm doing right now with all of you. Yes. I also would like to thank a very dear person to me. She just came up here and gave me these flowers. Her name's Akiko Dohi. She is a piano teacher, and she's been my piano teacher since I was 6 years old. I moved back a year and a half ago from the Midwest, and she took me under her wing, and she pushes me like no other in a really, really great way. Thank you, Akiko. Thank you. Yes, and do I have anyone else to thank? Yes, all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I hope all of you have a lovely Valentine's Day tomorrow. But if you're heartbroken, or if you don't have anyone to love right now, that's okay. Go love yourself first. Go spoil yourself. Do whatever you want tomorrow. It's all about you. I hope all of you have a lovely Valentine's Day. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.